Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in at 107.7 FM New Orleans. Not Nolans or New Orleans. You're listening to What the Frick Live. I'm your host, Emily Menshouse, and I have Mr. Will Martinez from Dark Fringe Radio. Hey.
Hey, what's up? How you doing? How's it going, sister?
Doing good. This is our first show for July.
I know. It feels like forever.
Took a break.
Took a break.
Happy Independence Day.
Yes, happy Independence Day, and a lot of stuff in the news, a lot of crazy stuff going on, but it's all creepy, it's all weird. I don't know what's up. I don't know.
We got reptilians on airplanes.
Yeah, we got reptilians in airplanes. We have submarines exploding underwater.
Yeah.
What else can you say?
Well, I got a lot more, but we got some snow at the White House.
Oh, yeah, cocaine at the White House. Who knows? Just left it there. Somebody just leave it there. Yeah, misplaced.
Real quick, Will has a show called Dark Fringe Radio. You can look him up at darkfringeradio.com or follow on Facebook, Dark Fringe Radio. Will, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on over there?
We just took a break ourselves. We're actually getting back into the swing of things. So next week we'll have a new episode for everybody. But go check us out, darkfringeradio.com. Our latest episode featured Miss Lynn Monet. She is an author and an empath, and very cool that we found some nuances and similarities to our background. She actually lived for a very long period of time in the town that I live in currently, so it all worked out.
Oh, I remember you talking about her previously. I need to go listen to that. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We are starting a little bit late tonight, but that's how it goes sometimes when you do live shows. So we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, LinkedIn. I think I got them all. Everywhere. But if you're watching via StreamYard or via Facebook, we're using StreamYard, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook because you have to give StreamYard permission to use your name and image, which I think is ridiculous. But we love a lot of comments in the comment section. The more you comment, the more it stays in the algorithm and goes down the news feeds. Give us hearts too, because if you heart us, we love you back, but that also keeps us in the algorithm. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We are going to be talking to somebody that's been on the show. You know what? I've been having a lot of 3-parters now. After I said you're my first 3-part show I've ever had, after that, it's just gone 3 parts. That means we need another hour or something.
Yeah, like I've always said, and we've talked about this, behind the scenes, that an hour is just sometimes not enough. You know what I mean? Especially with these guests that we talk to that have a lot of things to talk about. So yeah, it's sometimes we kind of underserve ourselves with the hour.
Hear that, 107.7? It's time to bump somebody. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But this is a 3-part show. We're all we're going to be talking about is angels this evening. I'm sure we'll bring in a little bit of demons, but it's mostly angels. Hardly anybody ever talks about angels, which if you believe in demons, I almost think that you would have to believe in angels as well. But we got Carl L. Johnson has been investigating reports of strange phenomena for the past 50 years. He has gone back and worked with Ed and Lorraine Warren. He's a member of the Parapsychological Oh my gosh, how do you say that? I'm just going to say R.I.R.O. research team based on Rhode Island College in Providence. Listen, I'm Appalachia. Don't put them in words.
Too many consonants and vowels together.
Say that 3 times fast. Carl's an identical twin, too, so that's awesome. His brother's name's Keith. He has been featured on Ghost Hunters, The Haunted, the A&E Network, The Haunted on Animal Planet, Finding Bigfoot. He's also, Mike Ricksecker was our last guest that we interviewed a couple weeks ago. He was featured in his series, The Shadow Dimension. So let's bring Carl L. Johnson onto the show right now. Carl, welcome to the show.
Hello there. Good to see you again, Emily and Will. Hello, my friends. It's been a couple of months now.
Yes, it has.
I know. It goes by so fast.
It's been since the beginning of spring since we talked, I mean, as far as being on air and all that.
Did you miss
I think it was just at the threshold of spring that I was on. So we had to go through spring, and now that we're in the oppressive summer, I come back to you.
I know that.
Well, he didn't answer my question yet, so.
Carl, she asked if you missed her. If you missed her.
Did you miss us? Did you miss?
Isn't it obvious? I wore cologne for you. Can't you tell? I wore my special cologne. I wore my special cologne for you, Emily.
The gentleman right there.
Emily, I do miss you.
Oh,
I let's put it this way. I try not to get in touch with you too often because
that's nice. You're gonna make me
well,
blush.
I don't know. It sounds sappy and it sounds superfluous because
nice.
Because I'll get too used to calling you, and then I try to discipline myself.
You
get your 11 o'clock call. It's like, Emily, are you up? Of course you are. If you answer
Probably
the phone.
I am because I have chronic insomnia. But,
you'd be good to talk to.
11 o'clock is better than 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning because I got PSA post I post on my Facebook, but we'll talk about that some other time.
I miss Will too because you're a good.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm doting on Emily here. The times I've thought of you and jotted your name and then
there you go.
Dialed 3 numbers in and then hung up. I just didn't follow through on it. You're like indispensable now. You're interchanged with each other. I just see you as a team.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to be on more often.
I love Will like a brother. No joke.
She's like a sister to me.
So,
that woman right there.
Yeah.
I'll protect her if I have to.
Woo!
Absolutely.
There we go. So
That's
thank you, Will. Oh, you're all gonna make me teary eyed.
Yeah,
Will's my angel.
Yes,
So
always got your back.
So speaking of angels, because that's what I want to talk about this evening. Because Carl, do you do a lot of interviews? Do people ask you a lot of questions about angels over the years? Or do they mostly stick with the dark side of things?
They usually go right to the darkness, right to the, some people will touch on angels, but it's usually as an afterthought. They start out asking the questions about diabolical influences. Mm-hmm. By the way, I noticed somebody already messaged, somebody got up early to sign on to the show because she's going to be going to work soon.
Oh, is it this one? Hi, Carl.
That one right there, because she lives in Indonesia and it's morning there.
It is. They're opposite schedule than us.
6 in the morning there.
Yes.
About 6:15 in the morning there. And she has an early work shift. She teaches piano, and that is Wajong Sardi. And she's a faithful listener. She listens to your show. Well, she listens to me, but she's very interested in angels too, because she writes about angels. She has had encounters with angels. And I know several people who claim to have had personal encounters with angels.
Have you?
I hear a lot more about people who have run into demons, but every once in a while you get a testimony about somebody who seems to have encountered an angelic being, a celestial influence.
Have you ever encountered one, Carl?
Not that I know of. I might have not even known it. People who somehow help. I had somebody very close to me. I know she found an angel, and it was very interesting the way she did. And it wasn't like a cloud formation in the sky. It wasn't a glowing form in her bedroom. Her name was Laura Casey. And she told me how she was looking for a special gift for her grandmother. And she wanted it to be something significant. And I believe her grandmother used to be a dancer in her youth, and professionally. And
I was going to say.
She was a dancer, right? And she was, so Lana was looking for something very special. And I think she found, I think that's what the story was. It's been so long since I've heard it. She found a little ballerina, and it was the only one in the gift shop the way she went in. And she wouldn't have found it if she was just about to leave. And an elderly man, kind of a short stature elderly man, said, "How can I help you?" She said, "Well, I don't think you have what I'm looking for." And he said, "Well, tell me what it is." She said, "Well, I'm looking for like an old-fashioned dancer, something ceramic or some little gift." So he said, "Well, I don't see it out here. Let me go check." So he went to the back room and he came out and he said, "I know where it is." And he showed her. She said, "I already looked there. I didn't see it." He said, "Well, there it is. Is that something what you're looking for?" She said, "Oh, I think this is for my grandmother. I know she'll love that." And so she was just about to give up on it. And then he found where it was in the store, where she had looked. So her grandmother was so pleased with that gift that Laura went back into the store to thank that man. They had no such employee there. They said, we don't know who you're talking about. well, you know, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, but my grandmother was so pleased. I wanted to thank him. She said, well, we'd love to pass your message on, but we just don't know who you mean. You know, and
wow.
she didn't, obviously she wasn't flighty. She didn't imagine it, because she actually came back to thank him, and she described him. Now, usually when it's what we call a ghost or a spirit, they're not that substantial. They don't say much. They can't do much. You're lucky if you see one walk by, float by. But this man actually had interchange with her and helped her and found something for her. So she believes it was an angel.
Mm.
You know, now he didn't rescue her from a burning fire, you know, like a house on fire, or he didn't save her from a car accident. But that little thing meant so much to her because it meant so much to her grandmother. You know, I wish I could ask her about that, but that's what I remember about it. And I believe that's an angelic encounter. And there are so many stories, if you poll people, about how they've been in distress, and they just happen to, someone comes along, and then they can't find out anything about the person afterwards.
That's similar to what happened at my church many years ago. And I'll say this real quick, and then I'll let Will follow up. But many years ago, probably back in 2001, 2002, we had a lady at my church that owned an antique shop. And for you to go into the antique shop, you open the doors, and there's little jingle bells, you know, to let you know somebody's entered the door. This is country shop, but you have to go halfway into the store to reach the desk, the counter where she was at. And this man comes in, and he has these pictures, hand painted, hand drawings. They all were identical, and they were 9, which is interesting now, knowing that there choirs of angels of Jesus, and he was smiling, but he also had a tear in his eyes. And I remember seeing that picture when I was young, because she brought him to church, and we used them, you know, and other people, she handed them out to other people, but they laid him down. She was looking at him, and she was looking at him. She said, thank you. And then by the time she looked back up, the guy was completely gone. So she thinks it was an angel that dropped that off to her. She's never seen the guy before. She didn't hear the bells go off, when he walked back out the door, he was gone in 30 seconds. And I think it was angelic. And when you just saw the pictures of these drawings, something drew you to it. It was, you knew it was heavenly in many ways, or the Holy Spirit was attached to it. It was a drawing I've never seen before. So, you know, I think this happens all the time, and we just don't give it credit, because I think our hearts lean towards the dark side more, because it might be more entertaining. I don't know.
Easier to believe, I think. You know.
Is it that, or is it the fact maybe that the demons like to be shown themselves more versus the angels not so much, where they're doing things, you know, to help you, but they don't like to show themselves. They don't need that attention. Do you find that, you know, an attribute, you know, when it comes to
something like that? Because the lore is L-O-R-E. The lore is that a demon cannot successfully masquerade as a person. They reveal themselves somehow.
No, they have to.
If not the first encounter, then the second encounter. They always show themselves to be something inhuman, whereas an angel has no such restriction. You just might never know that it was an angel you entertained or that helped you. But it's nonetheless an inhuman. It's the polar opposite. They're both thought to be celestial beings, not earth creatures, not physical. But I don't know how an angel could do that. I mean, do they become physical temporarily? Do they come? It makes sense, if anything does, that they would issue forth from another dimension, as the demons do. And you can talk about the demons and the angels, you know, concurrently, because they are similar. You know.
Well,
we'd rather have the angels around.
It was Jacob that wrestled with the angel in the Bible, and he was of man, right? He looked like a man.
Well, that shows that the angel was physical enough that, at least in appearance, that Jacob could challenge him. Jacob was being prideful, and probably didn't fully believe it was an angel, but he was able to grab a hold of the angel. You know, he was able to make physical contact with this angel, and the angel touched him on the head, and Jacob fell down, collapsed in pain. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So angels can have more tricks up their sleeves.
Mm.
You can't really, you know. Would people pay money to see a man, you know, wrestling an angel? I don't know. You know how it's going to turn out.
So can we say that angels can manifest as men, but demons have to encompass a man's spirit to manifest in a man?
Well, it depends on if you're talking about like actual a myth or something more like speculation or what it could be.
Can you be possessed by an angel? You can't be possessed by an angel. So does these, in my opinion, I don't know, you might know more, Carl, but it seems like an angel can represent himself and actually look like a solid man, but the demon would have to manifest itself in a human body.
It is thought that an angel can speak through someone. A person can channel the angel, but not outright possess a person as a demon might, you know, and force that. The demon will the angel will sometimes speak through the person. The demons are more infamous for doing that because they take partial or sometimes total control and speak through the person. But the difference is with the angel, it's very transient. The demon doesn't want to let go of its human subject.
No.
Like, oh, I got this far. Let's keep it going. I don't want to give you back.
Go ahead, Will.
It's eerie. It's kind of spooky to talk about whether it be angels or demons. It's kind of, you know, because we're talking about
we got fallen angels, you know.
Fallen angels, yes. Well, there are similarities in fallen angels. You could be referring to the Nephilim, which is a plural word for the Nephil. Nephilim is the fallen angels that were earthbound, and they came about when the angels, and this is written of in the book of Enoch, which is actually 6 books together, but comprehensively, it's the book of Enoch, and that is part of the Apocrypha. In other words, it was not included with the canonic Bible, Christian Judaic Bible. So the angels of the sons of God, not the son of God, but sons of God, they found the daughters of men favorable. They looked upon them with lust and desire. So they took human form. How they did that, we don't know. But they copulated with human females and produced offspring. The offspring weren't normal, though. Whenever you mix a god or an angel or, you know, a demigod with a mortal, you get bizarre results.
You get Jesus.
Yeah,
well, you get that's one time. You get
when it works out the best way. Before Jesus, there was Hercules, also known as Heracles. He was the son of a Titan, and Hera, a female human. So he's got God DNA in him. He's got, you know, God with a small g, and so he, of course, became a remarkable person, the strongest human being to ever have lived. You know, Hercules, but he's very mythologic too.
Well, so he was considered a giant then, right?
Yeah, and yes. Well, in that he had super strength. Yes, he was a giant. And you wonder what kind of murky reality there is behind these myths. You know, Hercules was so spoken of it as if he had really existed. Was he totally a fabrication? Well, we think so, but just maybe there's a little reality behind that. Maybe there was
I think everything was massive back then. Like even the trees, like in the Bible talks about, I go from biblical point of view because that's my background in college. I went to Bible college, but the trees, certain trees reach the heavens, the heavenlies. So these plateaus or something that we see in a lot of videos and everything, they actually scientists have gone in and said it's petrified wood in many aspects. And like the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden, like extended to the heavens, like everybody said that they could see the tree. So I think everything was huge and we've just shrunk over time.
Well, we get into the reality of the, say, the dinosaurs.
Okay.
Some of them were titanic, huge. And yet there were chicken-sized dinosaurs too. At that time, the Cretaceous, Triassic eras, there was a higher oxygen content in the earth, it's known. Gravity may have been a little different, but certainly the air was different. Like if one of we puny mortals was transported back 70 million years, 100 million years, we'd have a tough time of it. We would want some kind of breathing apparatus. We would survive, at least for a while, until something gobbled us up. But it would be tough to breathe because you'd be like almost as if you were at a different level, like mountain climbing. But the oxygen, was stronger. There was less nitrogen and more oxygen. So that may have led to these sizable creatures. We always think of dinosaurs as being big. Yeah, we don't see big land animals, not quite like that anymore. We've got the elephants, and that's as big as it gets.
We're gonna dump Carl out in the sea. On the ocean. That's where they're all at, way out in the deep.
And we think of the age of giants and gigantic creatures. The largest animal to ever live is living now, and that's the blue whale.
The blue whale. Yeah.
Unless there's something we find, they're also, the blue whale can reach like 100 and 120 feet in length. Right. But there was a dinosaur called Diplodocus that could get to be 90 to 100 feet long. So it's about the same size. And they were land animals. Oh, would you love to go back there and just see these things?
I don't know.
No wonder they were called cavemen, because I would be deep in a cave where they can't find me.
That would be safer, yes.
Yeah, like I get stayed away.
It'd be fun to do as long as you could get back. If you could come back here and tell about it. Wouldn't matter if anybody believed you or not. If you could just come back. It's thought that some people have time slippages and they just find themselves transported, not in the future, but to the future, but they go back in time. They hit a dimensional rift and they go back, and that's got to be rough for them. We don't see them again. No. But sometimes people just disappear. There are some people who have gone back temporarily to the Middle Ages, and they've told them to tell about it, but only for a few seconds. But suppose somebody gets trapped there and goes back. They might have been food for a dinosaur or some kind of creature. We don't know. Or fallen into a volcanic rift. It's chilling to think about. But were
they fell in the ocean, Carl. What? They fell in the ocean. I'm so scared of the ocean now because this past year in Jaws. I talk to Will every single time now because his little Jaws picture behind him. I think of the ocean. I'm scared. What
about Atlantis? Donovan, you're far too young, both of you, to remember Donovan Leitch.
Donovan Leitch.
Donovan. We went by Donovan.
Season of the Witch?
No. No, he didn't do that. We had
no.
Who did that? It was Ozzy Osbourne did
Okay, I don't know Donovan, but I pulled him up here.
You pulled him up. He's pretty elderly. That's good of you to do. Well, you managed something.
Mellow Yellow. Season of the Witch.
Mellow Yellow. Donovan. When I was a kid, Donovan was popular.
Season of the Witch, right? Is one of them, right?
Yeah, it says Season of the Witch.
Now it's coming back to me. I just must be the season of the witch.
Yeah.
Jennifer Juniper, Sunshine Superman.
Atlantis. With me. No, I saw Donovan perform. He was older, and he's still living to my knowledge. And
he says he's 77. That's my dad's age.
Well, it's not. It's not. I shouldn't say it wasn't like he was a Beatle,
right.
But he was popular in 1967, 1968. Yeah, Donovan, and he did a song about Atlantis. Hell, Atlantis. He did some beautiful Christian music too.
Oh, really? I didn't
just to diverge for a moment, there was a movie. If you remember the Franco Zeffirelli Romeo and Juliet in 1968, starring Lynn Whiting and Olivia Hussey. Usually people saw
ours is Claire Danes and Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's more updated. And Paul Sorvino. That's more updated, which I like. I like both of them. They both go with a Shakespeare play. That's their script, a little amended. But in 1968, there was a beautiful movie, Romeo and Juliet. That was the rage. That was the thing. and it starred two beautiful young, who are actually the ages comparable to Romeo and Juliet. Well, that was a film by Franco Zeffirelli. Then there's the flip side. If it was a 45 record, the 45 records disc, the flip side would be Brother, Sun, and Sister Moon, and had some of the same actors in it. That was 1972. It was the story of how St. Francis of Assisi began his ministry. And Donovan did the music.
Isn't that Masonic? The moon and the sun and everything isn't.
Francis of Assisi wrote a poem, Brother, Sun, Sister Moon, and so that's where Donovan got the lyrics, and it's got a beautiful score to it, composed by and performed by Donovan.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, since we're talking about music, Carl, and angels.
Talking about music, Carl.
Yeah, of course.
Older music.
We're gonna do hertz levels here in a second. If we're talking about music, this is.
But how about angelic music? Yeah, I mean, I know there's things of they say that there's certain frequencies that are angelic.
There are recordings of angels' voices.
Really?
If you want to peck around at YouTube and find something that you feel is genuine, because there's a lot of stuff out there, but
yes,
vocalizations of Bigfoot that I'm convinced are authentic have been recorded, of Sasquatch. Demonic voices have been recorded. I know because my brother has recorded them, has examples. And angelic, not speaking, but angelic celestial choir, angelic intonations have been recorded. We don't know what else to call them, but they seem to be celestial. They seem to be angelic. So they do make noise. They have sounds, and sometimes, as we were talking about, they appear as people.
Oh, this is it. This is a year ago. This guy, hold on, I'm going to share my screen here in a second. As soon as the advertisement goes away. Of this song. It's holy, and it shook the internet. It did shake the internet when he started playing it in the hertz levels that he was told to share it in.
So it wasn't initially audible. The frequency transcended our hearing capabilities, but then he refined it, isolated it, and he was able to play it. Do you have it? I don't know if you can play it. Yeah.
So let's listen to some of this. I'm sharing it I'm adding it to the stream right now. Hopefully it'll play.
Thank you.
There we go. You see it?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go.
I think Emily froze here. Let's see. Yeah, I think she froze trying to play that song there. I keep freezing up, so I don't know how much you all heard of that.
We heard.
You don't hear much of that because I kept freezing up, and it goes. Then it goes into later on in the song. Everybody go look that up on YouTube. The song that shook the internet about the heavenlies. In the chorus of it. It goes up in the hertz levels of what he heard in the vision or dream he had. And the guy that's in that video that was singing, if you even saw that, that's the person that had the dream and the vision of what happened. So yeah, that was him. So, and I remember listening to the first time, and I was like, okay, it kind of sounds like a normal song that I hear at church or something if I spoke a different language. And then it just, I don't know, halfway through it, something hit me. I start crying and everything. So there's something behind that.
It's very emotional. It's provoking. Yeah, I could feel that. I could listen to that. I could choke up listening to that. It sounded as if he was singing. Some of the words were in Greek or Greek-like. But
or do you think maybe Arabic? Do you think? I don't know.
It had that quality of like speaking in tongues, which when someone does it well, it sounds like a mixture of Aramaic and Hebraic. I know somebody.
I speak in tongues, by the way. I have a testimony to talk to y'all about it someday, not tonight, but because
it would be the whole conversation. Yes.
Oh, it's a whole conversation and everything. Happened to me July 27th of 1997. So it's coming up on the anniversary of what's happening. Hold on. Leviathan, Doug said Leviathan. Ajing, I hope I say your name right. Some people who died will become angels, while with what I experienced between angel and demon is different. What do you think?
If that question is directed to me, I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, I can guess. I've been taught that angels and human spirits are two different things altogether. That, a person will not become an angel. They may be a ghost, or they may be a beneficent person, or maybe they'll have some work to do in the next life. But you wouldn't really confuse an angel with a human spirit, a deceased human being. It's a good concept, though. Do you remember Heaven? What was that? Touched by an Angel with Michael Landon.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That had a beautiful theme to it. There's something. Yeah, there's something strange about that show. Besides it was beautiful. Michael Landon. Died of he had a cancer, and he died, I believe it was pancreatic, and not too long after that, Victor French died. He was his co-star in that, and they were best friends in real life. My sister pointed something out to me. When you see Touched by an Angel, the way it would start is Victor French is driving. He's the man with the beard and gruff speaking. He's driving, and there's Michael Landon's part of the angel, and he's like hitchhiking, and Michael Landon, Victor French pulls his pickup truck over and picks up Michael Landon, and they both look at each other and smile without any conversation. Then they drive off. And my sister told me, that's kind of strange. That's eerie, because
was it called Heaven Can Wait, or was it called Mile to Heaven or something like that? No,
I don't know. Heaven Can Wait, I thought it was a motion picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think it was Touched by an Angel. But I'll look it up. But it was just when you think of that, it was very touching to see Victor French pull his truck over and pick up Michael Landon. And they're parts. Yet the way they're smiling at each other is genuine. And then he goes off with them, and it shows them going down like a road cut through a desert, and they're going into the sunrise or sunset. It's just beautiful.
I have a question about Angel. I have I have 2.5 pages of notes, but this is the
one. Try to dive into those.
Yeah, I want to dive into this a little bit, because we'll let you go before we close out the show. But we got about another 30, not quite 30 minutes, maybe.
I like this comment too. If we hopefully.
Yeah. Doug said thousands of years later they find Doug was here, etched in the side of a cave. I feel like this comment is coming from the past now.
Past life regression. Yeah.
You're going to see a peace sign, a heart sign, peace, and a smiley face from me on one of them walls one of these days. So many questions here. We have a hierarchy of angels. We also have a hierarchy of demons. Like, there's always a counterfeit.
Yes, and H.P. Lovecraft made up his own In fact, H.P. Lovecraft has a story with that theme. It's called The Shadow Out of Time, where, you know.
What's interesting with me with the 9 or the 3 triads, the 9 hierarchy is almost a little bit more spiritual, when the hierarchy of Lucifer and Satan is more earthbound titles. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it's kings, it's princes, it's presidents, it's deals with land dwelling. When the angels up to top, like the seraphim, the cherubim, the thrones, like it deals with all kinds of stuff. So here's my rabbit hole on this. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, so the cherubim is my main concern in my rabbit hole of doing this, because we have the Ark of the Covenant that had 2 cherubims. Even God put a cherubim to guard the Garden of Eden and things. Do you think that angels have a free will? And this is going to get to a point here in a second.
They can think, but they don't have free will. They are constrained. It's not that they're robotized. You know, they can think, they could rebel, they can choose to serve God, but they really have no option to that.
Because
angel would have to be
Satan,
insane not to.
AKA Lucifer, is technically an angel, and he rebelled.
That's the story. Humanicide.
So that would be free will in many aspects.
Well, it makes sense to us that way, doesn't it? If we have this dictum of, you know, Satan was a powerful angel and pride overtook him, and he was cast down. It puts him in human terms, and we can identify with that. And indeed, some people even admire Lucifer's fall because he was the element of pride. He was the epitome of pride, and people can kind of think that's groovy. Well,
and he also was I call him like the praise and worship leader of the church. Like his breastplate was of a harp. There's only one instrument he was not allowed to play, which was the shofar, the trumpet.
Oh yes, I've blown a shofar. I know what they're like.
So with the hierarchy,
you know,
do you think Satan, because cherubim, seraphim, cherubim, and the thrones is the closest to God, and they say that Lucifer in heaven, he's called Satan now here on earth, but Lucifer in heaven was above God in many ways, and that's where the pride came in and the praise and worship come in. Do you think that he was considered cherubim?
I've always thought that Satan, Lucifer would be, in contracting those names, would be a cherubim. I say cherubim, you know, cherubim. But I mean, you know,
I'm Appalachia, honey.
Cherubim. Well, cherubim. Actually, I say cherubim, the Hebraic way. But yeah, that'd be tough for you. Yeah.
I also want to just point out the first 4 letters is share. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I've always thought of him as although it's not, you know, said specifically what he is, except in Kabbalistic tradition, he's named as a cherubim. And there of course the thrones, and then under them the principalities, and there's a whole hierarchy, you know, which is mirrored by the demonic realm, but we think the angelic realm came first. The seraphim, again a plural term. They're I wouldn't want to mess with one of those guys. They're bad. They're menacing to us. They are too powerful. I don't think they're particularly merciful. They're described as being there.
What I'm interested in with the cherubim, because, you know, even the Ark of the Covenant, it had 2 cherubims. The cherubim was over the Garden of Eden. But in Ezekiel, because I study a lot in Ezekiel, Daniel, and Revelations, like Ezekiel ordered to command the king, which is the king of Tyrus, be kicked off his throne. And Ezekiel mentions that he was in the Garden of Eden. Well, in the hierarchy of demonology, there's kings, there's Baal and Belial, and it's also said that Satan rules the kings. So like we have kings here on earth, like Vatican. People don't think the Pope's a king. He's a king. He's a king over a Vatican. But we got King Charles and you know, the princes and all this stuff. Do you think that our current administrations, through even presidents of the United States, the kings, the hierarchy that are here, government, political platforms, are actually orchestrated and is the hierarchy of the demonic side, and then we got to look at the spiritual side and angels and fight it spiritually? Does that make sense when I say that?
Well, I think it makes it easier for us to understand if we think in terms of a hierarchy. You know, like there's got to be some organization to this other world, the celestial realm. And if we think of them as princes and principalities, and, you know, they can be demoted, they can be dethroned, it makes them more palpable, and it makes them easier, you know, to comprehend for us and our limited understanding. I'm not a literalist when it comes to that. And again, we don't know, but I think it makes it easier to absorb. Yeah, those angels, like the seraphim, they're not, they're beneficent in the sense that they enforce and they are manifestations of God's law, but they would think nothing of extinguishing a city or smoting wrongdoers. They are, you can't even look upon a seraph and not be affected if you even survive it. They're not human. Some people think they're aliens because of that, because, you know, they are described as almost a spacecraft, you know. And then
the angels, the fallen angels, I mean, they were described as stars in the sky, and Lucifer sat on the side of the north. And if you go up to the side of the north, and he took a third of heavens with him, like there's no stars there. There's no stars there at all. Mm-hmm. The side of the north. So it's like
what was originally thought to be an empty space in
right,
most devoid of stars. At first, it was thought that. And 1/3 of them went down. I mean, that is a modern, well, quasi-modern. It comes from ancient times, actually. Interpretation of what happened in heaven. But don't they seem like they have human attributes and human emotions?
Well, what's interesting too with the stars is because they all used to play music, and now we know, like the seraphim, the hierarchy there that's up close to God, they're the ones that sing, and that's closest to God. They protect the throne. Okay, they're the ones that sing. But all the stars back in the day, and this is just Bible college study back in the day, that they used to play music and stuff, but now they no longer play music. So Lucifer fell from heaven, became Satan, name change, and took a third of the stars, but then they stopped playing music. All the stars stopped playing music at the time.
Yeah, it got kind of quiet up there, then replaced by screams of anguish. You look at the etymology and the interpretations of those names. Lucifer is old, Vulgate Latin, the more common Latin for bearer of light, bringer of light. Fere means to carry, to bear a burden. And Lucia is light, so the bearer of the light. He brings in the light. He's the illuminator, and that's why in the Age of Enlightenment, which you could round up saying that's the 1600s and the 1700s, a lot of people, a lot of these intellects, they favored Lucifer as a motif because he's the one who brings the torch of enlightenment, whereas Satan is a term. It became a proper name, but when the Bible the books were being written and then eventually put together, Satan was known as the lowercase ha-satan, a spirit that reports delinquencies of human beings, and there were more than one of those. And then eventually he became Satan with a capital S, and that means adversary or opposite or accuser. Not just the embodiment of wickedness, but somebody who points out, there's this great, human populace, God's great creation is kind of messing up here. And I'm going to report that. I'm going to see how fragile they are. So that's what you get. So that's why a lot of people don't want to say the name Satan. It gives me the willies. But Lucifer, I don't know, something cool about it. Because it was bandied about in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, Middle Ages leading up to the Renaissance. People would not the general educated people, they would not want to say Satan because that was, that was too heavy a term. But Lucifer, I don't know, they were more cool with that. But we're talking about, in this context, we're speaking of the same being. And Emily reminds me of somebody.
Oh, Lucifer! Thanks a lot, Carl. Lucifer, illuminate. Here, let me turn the lights on.
I know somebody who she's an accredited theologian. She has a degree in theology.
I have a minor. So
yeah. I think that was. Did she major in psychology or theology? I think she majored in theology, so she was really going for it. She could have become a minister. What would make if we had 3 hours to talk about this, right? Maybe we will sometime. And I would like to invite on Keith Johnson, my brother.
Yes.
You want to spew out angel knowledge? He's just got it. There's an encyclopedia in his mind. And Lana J. Brock, my co-author for Realms Demonology Handbook. She's the accredited theologian. Get the three of us together. Well, of course.
Maybe we should have a special. We could have a special.
5 of us.
A round table. Absolutely.
The thing is, when you get somebody who is knowledgeable, they say, "Oh, I'm not an expert," but then they talk like an expert. And once you uncork them, it's hard to close. Oh, Shadow Realms Demonology Handbook by Carl L. Johnson and Lana J. Brock. It would be hard to stop Lana from talking. She'll have her say, but she's making points. She's not just rambling. My brother, he'll want to get all that knowledge out. That's why I say 3 hours. Oh, hello, my friends. Hello.
Yeah, Anthony saying hello. The legend, myth, the man.
I love to hear that. 3 in 1, huh?
Yes.
Yes. But I would have my say. I mean, I can elucidate for a time, but if you had the 3 of us on as your guests, and you contributing, of course, Emily, boy, we'd cover some ground. I don't know but you'd know about a lot about the origin of angels at the end of our audience would.
Question for Carl. Enoch mentions Satan is clan.
I think what he was referring to then was that he was he was created of God. He was, in a sense, a manifestation of God. He was God's family. They were all cousins. That's what I think he's referring to. He's an isolated clan, but he is a division of God. God created Satan, although he wasn't called Satan then. We don't know what
all of us.
Yeah, well, it's nomenclature. We love to attach names to things for clarity's sake. But the devil may have had what became the devil may have had a whole different name, angelic name that we did not know. Now, if it's an angel, it should end with the suffix "el," which means of God. There was Azazel.
L. Are you talking about E.L.?
E.L. Yes, there might have been just an L originally, but it's pronounced E.L. And Azazel.
Or A.L.
E.L. in this case. Azazel has angels equated with Satan. Perhaps he was, Satan in another manifestation. Azazel is a very interesting deity because he came to Earth to instruct men and help them along in their development. Let's see. And then we get in. You start thinking of ancient aliens, and you make comparisons there.
Well, we're going to be talking about angels and aliens next week.
Yeah, something strange was going on. If you could transport back into 6,000 years ago, say 5, let's say 5, let's be modest, say 5,000 years ago. I think it would be pretty darn boring and you wouldn't have any conveniences and you were just looking for water. But if you kept looking in the skies 5,500 years ago, I think eventually you'd see craft. Every once in a while you'd see something whizzing overhead. Millennia before there were aircraft.
Meteor? Could it be meteor, star, or shooting star?
I think
these are angels. When I see fallen angels, fallen stars, I think of meteors, shooting stars.
There's also paintings that are taken from the Middle Ages that have pictures of angels and also a UFO in the background.
Oh yeah. I mean, in fact, usually those are pictures with angels in them.
Right.
Depicting angels. Yeah. And you look and you say, oh, well, somebody's reading that into it. Of course, they're going to say it's a spacecraft. And then you look more, and then you take your magnifying glass and say,
right.
Oh, that's a UFO in the painting.
Right.
It's impossible to just ignore that. And of course, shows like Ancient Aliens, they eat that up and they use that.
Of course.
What could it possibly be? Well, we used to hear that in Leonard Nimoy in Search of. Could it possibly be an illustration of a spacecraft? That's what got a lot of us hooked in paranormal studies.
Well, Carl, I'm going to have Will ask you one last question, then we're going to let you go, and then we'll close out the show.
I don't want you to let me go.
I know. We're going to have to do a
Emily, you have, I don't know if you watch yourself, but you have the most expressive eyes.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
You see the way she
has big eyes. Yeah.
Well,
she talks with her eyes.
You know what? It's called thyroid disease.
No, Graves' disease that makes you,
But it's not that bad. I have a mild case of it, but there's times it acts up. I have lid lag is what they call it, where my eyes get big at times when I'm moving up and down, and it looks like I call them crazy eyes off of like.
I'll tell you. Black? Marilyn Monroe had the same issue. She had the same thing with her.
Yeah. So,
you're in good company there.
My grandmother, all the years growing up, my grandmother on my mother's side was like, I wish I had my granddaughter's eyes because I do have big brown eyes. My brother doesn't have those, but I do, and I appreciate that. But
it's very expressive.
Will has some awesome brown eyes too.
Will has very pretty brown eyes, but Will is using them the way you are. He's.
I'm sorry.
No, you are she is very expressive with her eyes.
It's thyroid. Right. It's thyroid. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll ask a last question, and we'll let you go, and then we'll close out the show.
I'm gonna do a fun question. Let's do this.
Sure. It's been a grim topic so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Grim. Yeah.
Out of all the movies that've come out, what do you find to be the closest thing that would be the depiction of what we're dealing with when it comes to angels and demons on this earth?
Noah, the movie with Anthony Hopkins and who am I thinking of? Who's that very, very popular actor? He's in the.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah, he's in the Pope's Exorcist.
Emma Watson's in it. Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Yeah, I was thinking Russell, but I couldn't think of the last name. I knew it was monosyllabic. Russell Crowe. I think that comes pretty close to what they
really.
Yeah, because they're vaguely,
what reasons why?
Because they're glowing, but not. They don't look like people. But the Nephilim are also represented, and they are they look like animated trees and rock. They look like they're created from the earth.
Oh, that's the wrong. Hold on, I'm sharing the wrong. I was sharing you and your partner here. Hold on. I got to share Noah, and then I'm going to share your partner because that's the last question I'm going to ask you. And hold on.
Oh, not ever.
Noah. Here we go. Noah. Do y'all see it yet?
Not yet. Yes, now I do. That's it.
There
yes.
Russell Crowe.
That's a different interpretation.
Jennifer Connelly's in it too. Oh,
I never saw this movie.
2.5. That's why. Yeah, we all need to go watch it. Maybe we should have a movie. Watch party back in the day. Watch party.
Watch party.
Yeah.
You have to
go a watch party.
A watch party would be nice. Anthony Hopkins he plays Methuselah, the oldest man ever.
Yeah, we should do a watch party. That'd be fun. Then it would just
be so good.
Flood each other's houses after.
Yeah, let's do a watch party for Noah. And then we'll have a big, huge thing with everything. And real quick, you do have somebody that helps you in your investigations and stuff, and people can contact you. I have your websites up here.
Okay,
Carl, if you don't mind, tell people where
No, I'm glad we have a minute for that. My organization is Panorama Paranormal. Can you say that fast?
Panorama.
No, I can't.
Panorama Paranormal, and that is it's two of us, myself and that is Elise Giammarco Carlson, who's a very, very she's a pragmatist. She is a student of parapsychology. She doesn't deign to call herself a parapsychologist, but she's a student of parapsychology. She's studying at the J.B. Rhine Center based in North Carolina. That's actually where it comes out of. And she's in her 4th semester now, and then she'll eventually receive a certificate. And yes, Lana Jan Brock is the other half of Panorama Paranormal. We work with other people, associates, but we keep the group to just us. It's makes discussions easier.
Well, Carl, we're gonna have to get a Panorama group together and talk about all this angel stuff. Yeah, we can talk about this forever because we haven't even touched on any of the hierarchy, the different triads of angels and the comparison to demons. Like, this could be a series almost.
Yeah, my brother gives an entire lecture on that, as a matter of fact. I didn't want to get too much into it because that would be the whole show, and he's more knowledgeable about it than he has the knowledge readily. So yeah, well, we can plan. This can be the beginning. This can be the smolder, and then we'll have the campfire, or the bonfire.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like that.
I mean,
now I'm all wound up. Now I'm enthusiastic about this.
Spooky season's coming up, so we could do.
Yes.
So
Halloween angel show would be just fine.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes,
if you could ever go to 2 hours, and bring Will, because he's a good moderator.
Yeah, Will's gonna be a part of it.
Thank you, Carl.
He's the balancing factor.
Thank you, Carl.
Carl, I appreciate you very much. This is the 3rd time of you coming on the show. We appreciate you. Thank you. And we enjoy you and all the hard work you've done over the years. We're going to let you go. I have your websites and stuff. Everybody, please look up Carl L. Johnson and his book on Amazon. You can find it there. Just type in his name, Carl L. Johnson. You'll find it.
I'm not that hard to find. Okay.
No. Thank you.
Goodbye,
Thank you, Carl.
For having me on. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye. There we go, Mr. Carl L. Johnson for the 3rd time. Hold on, I got something for that.
The sound effect. Let's hear it.
No. Did you hear it?
No, we didn't hear it. No.
Hold on.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Oh, I turned my monitor up really loud. I am so sorry, folks. I am so sorry. That was my monitor. Yeah, but we didn't even touch.
There's a lot of stuff that we didn't. I know you did 2 pages of notes over there.
I had 2.5 pages. We got to one little section. This little section right here is all I talked about. All of this, the back of that, all that. So we should do a special on this. Nobody ever talks about angels.
No, at all.
But we're going to be talking about angels next week.
There we go.
Well, my dear friends, Dave Emmons is coming on. He's written several books, but angels and aliens. He's had so many so many experiences with aliens, but he also thinks that they're angelic in nature. So we're going to have Dave Emmons on next week. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Sorry for us going late. Thank you, 107.7 FM New Orleans. We love you all. Please share this out. If you're listening, share this out to your pages. Share it. It helps our guests. It helps our show. It helps our network. Everything else. We love you all. We will see you next Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Dave Emmons, Angels and Aliens. Thank you, everybody.